All right, welcome back, guys. This is Izar from Moving Vessel Auto Detailing, but also this is the Donuts and Detailing podcast.
Hell yeah.
And we got here,
Juan from Glass Doctor Auto Detail.
and today our special guest is going to be,
I'm Shawn, First Class Mobile Detail.
and today what we're going to be discussing is going to be the pros about mobile detailing. But before we get into that, we're going to want to get into knowing who Shawn is and getting to hear a bit about his story on how he started in the mobile detailing industry and how he just got into detailing itself. Shawn, let us
Tell
know
about yourself.
what
For sure,
sparked
man.
the interest. What sparked your interest into detailing?
Into detailing, I would say I was 17 years old. I had a friend, South LA. His dad opened a car wash, and they were looking for workers. A little teenager. So he was just like, if you want to come by and just do some cars, whatever. There was no training, no nothing.
Yeah.
And kind of got into it. Not gonna lie, I love doing the car wash thing.
Yeah.
And so after that, I kind of went back to school, and even at that, just dating and stuff, I just was obsessed with having a clean car.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I would never make no chick
You don't
go in
want-
my
you don't
car
want
dirty,
to
right?
sack it, man.
So it was just kind of like
Yeah.
it was definitely an OCD thing that I was obsessed with
Yeah.
washing cars, and it was more of a, how can I say it, like, to me it was kind of therapeutic. From that, I kind of, still with the whole car wash thing, I was kind of battling between jobs. I was doing plumbing.
Okay.
And it was okay, whatever, but it was never to say my calling. You know that feeling that you're like, you're just doing it just because you're getting paid, but it wasn't something that I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And kind of came through. I was looking for. I didn't have a job at the moment. I stopped the whole plumbing thing, and kind of went on Craigslist looking for a job, and I looked under mobile auto detailing,
damn.
and came across this ad, and this guy, he was from Torrance,
Yeah.
and he was looking for a helper for mobile detailing.
Dude,
So that same moment, I dropped everything and took a 2-hour bus drive, and I took a bus all the way to Torrance.
Wow.
And I met him at a Starbucks. We did the whole interview, and it's just something about me. I've always think positive about any situation. I never think negative.
Yeah.
At all about anything.
You're like, I'm going in there.
Yeah, exactly. So I went there. I'm like,
Up.
I'm gonna go in there. I already know what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna get this job.
Yeah.
You were
know what I mean?
17, right?
Yeah.
You weren't-
Well, at that time, when I started with him, I was already probably about 18.
18.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we did the interview, and the next day he called me up and he was like, "You got the job."
Dude.
So I was like,
It's
sweet,
so dope, dude.
and I got it, and so I started working for him, and he was my mentor, into the whole mobile detailing thing, and because he was a mobile detailer, and bear in mind this was back in 07, 08 or whatever,
Wow.
that detailing was not known, mobile detailing wasn't known at all, and when we used to work with him, people, they used to think that we were exterminators, because of the little water tank or whatever in
Right.
the back, and they're like, "What the hell do you guys do? Like, what do you guys do?"
Yeah.
We say detailing, and they're like, "What is that?" What? Nobody knew
Yeah.
what that was, as opposed to today. It's
course,
like a damn cockroach, like an epidemic.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's true.
So I started working with him, and he was pretty much the introduction of what I became. Everything I knew, everything. Business-wise, even work-wise, he's the person who was responsible of training me.
Is
Damn.
he still around?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Kind of fell off with him, and I haven't heard, from him. But he had a lot of years working in the industry. So he was one of those old school cats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he did everything old school.
Yeah.
Carpet, shampoo. There was no extracting at that time. It was all wet shop, brush, and spray bottles.
Yeah.
That's the way he did
Damn.
shampooing.
Did
You know what I
you
mean?
guys do any paint correction?
Yeah, he was more responsible with the whole paint correction thing. I was more the interior guy. He was more of the paint specialist.
Was
so.
he one of those guys where it's they always say strictly rotary? Yeah. He
Okay.
never. I never even
I don't
knew
even think
about
they
DA
were
until
they- were they paying
at
for
that time I don't even think DA even existed.
Yeah.
You know, it was strictly all rotary work, and definitely, obviously, a different path is going to get you different results. So he was more, rotary guy for sure.
That's crazy.
And he's the 6 months within working with him is when I was like, it kind of clicked on me. That little bug just went in me, and I was like,
You're like,
I
this is
think
my
I
thing.
could do this
Yeah.
for myself. I'm like, I'm 100% sure I know what I'm doing now. I could do this for myself.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the way it started. You know, I
Dude.
was still working with him. Little by little, I started,
That's
know,
freaking dope.
trying to make it in the industry. Like even still working with him, and it was hard. It was almost impossible, but I never gave up. You know what I mean? And there was so many times that, my wife would laugh at me because I would, if we're not working with him, as soon as I get home, I would be like, oh, I'll be back. Because I used to have a little 96 Maxima.
Yeah.
In my trunk, I had 3 little crates with different little supplies. I had a little small little shop vac, the smallest little rigid that they had.
Yeah.
I had one of those in my trunk, and a reel of hose.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what I used to detail first. In the back of a trunk of a car.
Hell yeah.
Wait, so you would connect to people's hoses?
To people hoses, yeah.
And wow.
Change
they're-
the hose, right? Just
with my own hose, and I just used their water and their electricity.
Wow.
And I had little crates of supplies that I knew what I needed to perform a car wash at that time, or a detail or whatever. And I would come home, if I'm not working with him or we get out early, I would go home, and I was always that hungry. I was that kind of hustler, and even up to this day, I was always the kind of guy that I want more.
yeah.
And at that time, I wasn't making a whole lot of money with him. So
Yeah.
to me, I was broke. I was broke, dude. I was dead broke.
Yeah.
Seriously broke. I didn't even have money for diapers. Kind of
Yeah.
broke.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I used to get home and go to coin op washes, and just go around asking people if they need a $25 clay job or a
Damn.
wax job or something. And
shoot.
I would be here for a few hours, and maybe one, would happen. And my wife would always laugh at her, dude, you always, when you set yourself to do something, you always do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and that was always the hustle in me. And up to this day, I'm still like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
badass.
And I would come back with one car. I don't care. I'm like, to me, it was $25 was a lot to
blessing.
me. Yeah, I was like, dude, that's money. Whatever.
You had yesterday.
Yeah, so that's the way I kind of started, little by little, just doing little cars like that, and really kind of got my break. Was one of my first customers, and I still do his cars to this day.
Wow.
Damn.
He had a little Tacoma. I forgot what year it was. Little 2-door Tacoma. He used to use it for gardening.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what that truck looked like.
Yeah.
And the inside was just, it looked like a murder scene in there. Mud stick to the carpet.
Oh, no.
I mean, it was literally like petrified wood in there. It was just muddy, and it was just horrendous.
Yeah.
But to me, I was just like, I could clean this. I
Yeah.
can clean this for sure. I'm like, because my mentor always taught me, when it comes to a job, it's never whether you could do it or not. You already know you can. The question is how long it's going to take you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
that's
going to
true.
come in how much you're going to charge. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way I price things up to this day. It's
Right.
about how long it's going to take me. You know what I mean? And that's going to give you your quote.
That's
I never just give out a quote like that. I always I need to see it.
Yeah.
And we all have done that mistake.
Yeah.
Giving out a
Yeah.
quote over the phone, and you get there and you're like, oh my God, there's a dead body in here. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And
For
you're
real.
pretty much stuck,
Yeah.
and that's why you shouldn't do that. But I did it. It took me 9 hours to do that interior, but I did it. I cleaned that truck, and it stayed brand new.
Wow.
And he kind of, started helping me out with his cousins and friends and stuff like that. Started doing here and there little detailing. And one of my wife's cousin was my second client, and started doing his truck at his house. Then his neighbor came by and was like, hey, you know what? I need a wash. And that's the way it kind
So
of...
at this time, it was like word to mouth type of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's from me working with this guy, still working for this guy.
So you were balancing both of these.
Both of them.
Yeah,
Your
so I was
clients.
working with this guy pretty much from Monday to Saturday, and that was on and off. Like I said, every day was different.
Yeah.
But Sundays was strictly for myself. So Sundays was when I chose to do all my washes and details, whatever I
Sundays.
had. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so no days off.
No days off.
Hell
Wow.
yeah.
And-
That's how hungry this man was.
And
Hell yeah.
I did that for
probably more than 5 years that I worked Sunday to Sunday. I didn't know what a day off was up to this day, and I literally just stopped that.
And you just stopped there, right? So I guess my question is, because we asked ourselves this too.
Yeah.
We did our first episode. It's cool because since we're mobile detailers too, mostly we could kind of relate to your story just a bit. I guess you know what I mean.
Right.
Like, and because we were talking about that, how do you start? We're like a hose. What kind of hose? You know, and like I was talking about like how I started with like one of those just foam cannon like that you connect to those hoses.
Right.
Know? And it's cool that like you started in a similar spot. A lot longer,
Because in those days when I started, there was no such thing as foam cannons.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Ceramic coating, foam cannons, all that, extractors, all that is all new.
You had like a basically a bucket.
Right, bucket and your soap and your your mitts and you know what I mean, and that's pretty much.
Did you ever come to a point where like, I guess you were getting burnt out? You know what I mean?
For sure.
In your first stages.
Definitely, for sure. It's when I said that I didn't used to do days off. I work Sunday to Sunday at it. I developed to be a workaholic.
Yeah.
And that's something I battled for many years up to this day. And this day, right now, I've managed to try to manage it a little bit, but it was bad to the point that I almost lost my family over it.
Oh, wow.
Because I was choosing working over family time. Because that's all I knew for many years. Work.
Yeah.
Hustle. I didn't know anything else.
That's true.
If I had to go to Disney on a Sunday, and somebody called for work, I would have canceled Disney and go to work.
No way.
Yeah, that's how bad I was. You know what I mean?
Wait, so you would have a Disney pass, or did you buy the ticket?
Just randomly, you know what I mean? Like, I've had a couple instances, especially back in the day, like, we were literally going out somewhere, and they call and be like, hey, you know what, I need a car. Then
No way.
I would tell my wife, you know what, I gotta go back. And I'll go back, and cancel plans. And she dealt with it for many years, and like I said, it got to the point that it was pretty much exhausting for her.
Yeah.
It was like an addiction, so it's like a
scratch,
like you're just
being
like, oh my gosh,
being a
new
workaholic
client.
is just like any addiction. It's just like alcohol. It's just like drugs.
Man.
You get a high from overworking yourself. It's not about the money. If you're a workaholic, you got money, right?
Yeah.
If you're a workaholic, you're gonna be successful because you work. You know what I mean?
That's true.
You don't find excuses. So to me, success came easy because I was always a hard worker. You know what I mean? And developing that workaholic to say tendencies was what really made me. You know what I mean? Because I never said no for anything. To me, it was always yes.
Yeah.
I don't care what job it was. I'm there, and it's gonna get done.
Do you think doing that enabled your clients to have more trust with you, allowing there to be more callbacks? So you saying no, you never lost your clients, or kind of?
Yeah, well, that's what we kind of fell off with my mentor, because it was getting to the point that he wasn't staying as busy, and the recession happened.
Oh,
right.
2008.
So we were working back in those recession times, and we weren't working as much. And I remember there was this winter. It was one of the wettest I think Los Angeles ever seen. I think we saw like a whole month of rain.
Shit, dude.
I think that whole month, and it was December, Christmas
Wow,
time. I made I think $60 that he paid me.
Way.
$60 I had in my name. I had rent. I had, I didn't even knew about Christmas shopping. I remember that year was pretty much one of the worst, year for me.
Damn.
Period. I remember
Damn.
Christmas came around, dude. I didn't have not 1 cent to my name, dude.
Dang.
I had $20 to my name.
Wow.
And
gosh.
I see everybody smiling, everybody buying stuff, and I'm sitting there like,
Hurting.
is this my life? Like,
Yeah.
is this what it's gonna be, or I gotta do something? I gotta make it. I can't be like this, dude.
Oh,
You
Dude,
know, and I remember
is
one
crazy.
Christmas we went to one of my wife's friends, because we were broke, right?
Yeah.
She was like, you know what? I only had my little son first, and she was like, let's take him to Didi's, and I'll buy him the clothes and maybe a toy for him to have.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have shit. We were broke.
Yeah,
broke,
yeah.
broke. And saw my wife standing in the distance, and she was holding a boot, like just a dress boot. And I went over there, and she was just like, I really like this. I saw the price. It was like $19.
And I looked at my wallet. All I had was $20. I didn't even have rent money, nothing, dude.
You had all this momentum going until the recession.
Right.
Boom.
And I took that one last $20 that I had and I bought her that boot. And I remember going home and I surprised her with it. And bear in mind, this was like the 23rd, like the day before Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And I walked to her and I was drenched in tears, just crying, you know. And I told her sorry, you know, that I didn't have, you know, money or that I was broke or whatever. You know, and to this day she still has the boot. She still has the boot to this day, and right now, especially like right now, after so many years that we made it, you know, people see us personally and they see us dressed nice or having nice cars and etc. I'm like, you don't know the struggle we've been through. You know, I've been in the gutter, I've been broke, you know, I mean, I've been homeless, I've been, you know, I slept in the park before.
It started from the bottom, man.
You know, I mean, I've slept in the park before. You know, don't judge me now because what I have, that's, you're talking about 15 years of struggling, you know, to make it. What you're seeing now is 15 years of me reaping what I fucking sowed. You know, I mean, 15 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So,
damn, some hard work, dedication.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and that many years of doing it, you kind of, you start learning your trade. You know what I mean? So, to say, you know.
Yeah, dude, that's freaking crazy.
And working from the back of a car too does have its disadvantage, you know. Because I had, you know, a couple people that they would call me for details, and the moment I show up with a car, they're like, I was expecting like a, you know, a trailer or something.
Right.
And then I'm like, it felt horrible that people judge you like that, because I'm like, and I remember this one guy, he's like, he almost canceled on me right there and there, and he's like, I don't think you're gonna do a good job.
Wow.
Because I didn't have a trailer. You know? And I was like, I don't need a trailer to do a good job. I'm like, I am the detailer, not the trailer, not the nothing. I know what I'm doing. So I don't need a trailer. And he was like, you know, he was kind of like skeptical about it. And he's like, okay, just do whatever. And I did the car, and up to this day, I still remember his face when he saw it.
Wow.
You know, he just like lit up and he looked at me. He was like, what the hell? You know, like I judged you wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the detailer, dude. I don't need a trailer to do a good job. I know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So, and it took me many years before I got my first truck and equipment and etc. You know, make it to what I am today. You know, definitely for sure. Yeah. So pretty much from that experience from the client, like pretty much looking down on you because you're working in the trunk of the car. You know, teaches you. Well, it kind of taught me. More pride in what my experience has, you know, because I'm like I told him, you know, it's not the car or whatever that's detailing, it's me. I'm the detailer. You know, and this is for a lot of detailers that are starting right now. Don't think you need some fancy van with equipment and this and that. You need the basic to learn to do a basic wash.
Yes.
And once you get that down, then you can master the detailing.
Yeah, what's that saying? You are good with very little, and then you'll be good with very much.
Right. You know,
that's a great saying.
You know, a lot of people don't, especially when you're starting, don't think you're just gonna jump, because there are different sectors in the detailing game. You know what I mean? There's people who does maintenance only. There's people that do detailing. There's people who do paint correction, you know, etc. You know, there's a sector for everything, and there's people that stick to one thing. Mobile detailer, pretty much you do all at once. You offer all that. Oh wow. You know, so that's pretty much one of the pros in the, you know, the mobile detailing game. So, but you know, I want a lot of people to think that you don't need, you know, a big fancy extractor if you can afford it. You know, you could do it without it, because I did it for many years. You know, you don't need a rupees, you know, a $600 polisher if you can't afford it yet. Do it with, you know, whatever, you know, little, you know, quarter cable, whatever, is going to do the same result. It just might take you longer, but it's going to get you the same result.
Right.
Stack your chips up, and when you know you're ready to jump on a rupees, you get a rupees. You know what I mean? When you're ready to get, you do so many details, and you know you could afford your extractor, get an extractor. You know what I mean? So, you know, because I had so many detailers sometimes that they DM me when they see me working, and they're like, man, you have the big fancy, you know, polisher or whatever. I'm like don't stress. Don't even think that that's what make you less of a detailer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If you-
because a lot of detailers get intimidated.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one thing that's like, because even me, dude, like when I detail out of a Toyota Sienna, and I still do today.
Right.
You know, I've been doing it for like 3 to 4 years, 5 years maybe,
Right.
and that's all I've been detailing out of the Sienna. I started in the Camaro, you know, like I told you, you know, in the trunk too, you know, and that's a small ass trunk, and so, you know, but I'm honestly intimidated, dude. I would see a bunch of detailers. And even they would start, dude. They would start right away with a crazy cool setup. They had a van, and I'm just like, damn, bro, like, how'd you do it? You know, like,
right.
You know, but like, you know, it's cool to know that, you know. Like,
That happens, dude.
you know,
'Cause
like-
I've came across that one time in Corona, and I was at this building. I was just at this time I already had my little F-150. No decals, no nothing. You know, I had my little equipment, used equipment that I bought.
Wait, was that your second car that you got for mobile detailing?
This is my first.
First ever mobile detailing car.
Yeah, first ever truck that I ever bought, and I was working at this building that I was already doing clients there, and this other detailer was there. He had beautiful van wrap, the whole inside, man. It was just like
And so
he looked all professional.
Sorry
You
to
know,
interrupt, but timeline wise, how far into it were you? Like, how
Already.
old were you or something?
with the truck.
Yeah, with the truck, you know. So you went through all this starting with your 18. You're growing.
Dude, I got my
yeah.
truck probably.
Was it the year after that Christmas?
No, it was definitely probably about 2 years after that Christmas. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So it took you a while.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
to get
yeah,
there.
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
It took me a solid minute to actually save up and be like, okay, you know what? I'm making a little bit of money that I could try to get this truck.
Yeah,
You know, whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
And it took me probably solid like 3 years before I jumped in that, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I detailed for about 3 years behind the trunk of that car before I could start saying I had a solid, you know, a little bit of clientele and started making a little bit of money or a little bit more money or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and at that time I was with that Christmas thing, I was still working with my mentor
Yeah.
when that happened. Like I said, I wasn't making money with him.
Yeah.
And I was already getting to the point that I was making more money on one Sunday working for myself as opposed to working the whole week with him.
Yeah.
So it was already getting to the point I was just like, and I'm sure he knew it, that it was coming, that I was just like, I was over it,
Yeah.
you know. And so I stopped working for him, and I started working for myself like 3 days. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because you know everybody wants their car clean for the
On the
weekend. So
yeah.
those 3 days I kind of took for myself, and like I said, still a little here and there, miss here and there, but to me it was just like, hey, if I make $80, I'm good, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Compared to what I wasn't making anything.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I make $80, $100 a day for those 3 days, you know, each day or whatever, that's good. And the other 3 days, I started working with my wife's cousin, and they did gardening.
Wow.
So I did gardening for 3 days, and 3 days I did
Gardening.
detailing.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool, yeah.
And that I did that for about 2 years.
2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, before it really started picking. You know, as the year goes by, you start building up your clientele.
Uh-huh.
And
Right.
if you're pretty good at what you do, it's gonna go around.
Yeah,
you
the
know what I mean? And
referrals.
yeah,
People are gonna
and
see.
yeah, people are gonna refer you. So, and even at that, it takes time to build a clientele, and it started getting to the point that people started hitting me up more often.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
You know, and it got to the point I was like, it's either I quit the gardening, which was giving me 3 days of job, and pursue this full time, or stick with this and still be limited. You know,
Yeah.
keep telling people no sometimes
Yeah.
because they wanted the days that I was working with the other part. You know what I mean? So it
It's conflicting.
yeah, I think, and a lot of detailers know that if you have 2 jobs and you're balancing both, you tend to come to that dilemma one day.
Yeah.
You will get to that dilemma one day, and it's gonna be a scary thing because you're like,
I don't
do
want
it's a risk.
do I quit this job that's paying me and pursue this, you know, self-employment that, you know, it's
scary.
yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, no,
you know,
I remember that.
yeah,
I
it's
remember
scary.
that, yeah.
So, and I got to it. I'm like, you know what? I'll go for it. You know,
Yeah.
I quit. I quit the guy, and that was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah, because it
know,
pushed you
like,
forward.
Yeah, bro. Because literally, from that week, the week after I quit him, it was like a light switch. Bam.
Boom.
My business just boosted. Boom. Because I had the time to do everybody else that was calling me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's the way it kind of boosted it, so it went good.
Dude, that's super freaking
That's
cool.
so awesome. That's so awesome. All right, Shawn. You blew up. You were able to get. You were able to let go of the gardening business. How were you then able to start getting more clients and etc.? How did you also reinvest into your business or into yourself?
Yeah, tell us about your reinvesting into
Definitely, because after leaving the whole gardening thing, I was still working on the back of the car.
Damn.
And so this is what happened. More clients was coming in, and I remember one time somebody called me up and they had a big account. It was like a fleet account or something,
Oh shit.
and I didn't have no setup.
Uh-huh.
Damn.
Right,
Wow.
I didn't have no setup, and they're expecting somebody with tank and the full setup.
Yeah.
And when they were like not skeptical, but they were like, you kind of don't sound professional.
Okay.
And I didn't end up getting that job.
Yeah.
And that was the first thing that I was like, you know what, I need invest and get something like a truck or a setup. And
Right.
bear in mind at this time I'm still not making a lot of money.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right? And so I was just like, man, that I need to do something.
Was it that feeling of like people saying no to you? It's like a driving factor that you need to show them and prove them wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because like I said, my mentor always taught me you only have one opportunity to make somebody your client, and the first time you do your car, that's the time. Because if you don't blow them away that one time, they might never call you again.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I always use that as my motto to say every client I do, even to this day, a new one. My job is to blow you away like this, and up to this day, every client that I have, they end up staying with me.
That's
Why? Because
great.
that's what I do. One time I touch your car, I guarantee you're not gonna look for another detailer for sure.
Really quick,
You know what I'm saying?
you ever had those across that in your whole entire starting, or
Like-
was it all just like?
Like a fail, like it was like a fail, like
Because there's
you messed
failure,
up,
you know?
or-
Like, I'm
Yeah,
just
it
thinking,
does. Of course,
So like you
there's
messed up on the car, or like something happened.
there's
you know?
probably about 2 times that something have happened. Definitely, one was definitely this guy hit me up for a car, and he had water spots all over the car, and it was a brand new car. Bear in mind, this car hadn't even hit the streets,
Damn.
and whoever owned it, I think somebody from corporate owned it, and they used to, I guess, washed it with tap water, and this thing was just blasted with water spots.
Wow.
And he called me up. He's like, "Can you take care of it?" I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. Done it a
course,
million
of
times,
course.
right?
Yeah,
Done it a million times." Got the car and start using this, the water spot remover.
Right.
And for whatever reason, this thing had a reaction to the moldings and etched it just immediately.
No.
And this
way.
was all like those new plastics, shiny plastic,
Yeah.
and it etched it black, just spotted up all the moldings. And bear in mind, this is a brand new car, haven't even hit the streets.
No way. So when you were
And-
doing it, that thing was turning black.
Yeah, well, the moment I sprayed it,
Yeah.
and because
Yeah.
water spot remover is pretty much acid, right?
Right.
So when I sprayed it for it, because it was everywhere, moldings, windows, you name it, had water spots.
Yeah.
So I sprayed the whole car, and as I started rinsing it off, I noticed the etching on the moldings, and I was like, whoa! I started freaking out. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What happened? So I did the other side and the same thing, and I was just like, what the fuck? I was just like, and bear in mind, this client
heart
just
sank.
this client just got this car.
Oh my god.
So I started working on it to see if maybe there's something I could polish. Nothing. This
Dude,
was
no
it
way.
was done.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I started freaking out, and I was just like, how the hell do I call this guy and tell him that the molding got messed up, And so I was just like, hey, it is what it is. I already tried everything. It's not working. I just have to, man up and be like, hey, you know what?
Take the hit.
Yeah, take the hit and be like, I'll take care of it. No worries. Which is what I did. I told him it sucked, and he was pretty bummed out, and I actually lost him because he never called me back after that.
Oh man.
And
Damn.
I took care of it, and it was like a $2,500 bill to replace all the moldings,
Damn.
and that was pretty much one of the worst to say hit that I ever took.
That is crazy.
And another one second one was a GTR that I was working on.
Oh.
It was wrap. And rushing because I fit him in last minute. And I
knew I shouldn't have done that. And the car was done. I was sticking it back in the garage. I was backing it up in the garage, and it was a very tiny garage. For whatever reason, I'm looking at this mirror, and I'm not paying attention to this mirror. And the back fender touched this side of the garage. And it ripped it was small. It ripped the wrap off, but it actually dented it a little bit.
Damn.
And it was a GTR, so and those panels I believe is aluminum or something. It's not something that you could just go and repaint or whatever. And the bill was like 10 grand.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, dude. The bill was like 10 grand. And I was shopping around everywhere, and everybody was telling me pretty much the same thing. And he ended up finding somebody that was gonna do it for about 3 grand.
Wow.
You know, and I ended up paying for it. You know, and that was the 2 times that I could say I ever took a hit that bad.
Wow.
You know, and
I mean, and you know, it's just I don't ask to just like be like, you know, like just to down your story, but it's just I guess it's to help other detailers that for sure are starting, you know, that you're probably going to take a hit one day.
oh yeah,
You know,
for sure.
it happens to everyone.
For sure.
It's part of your journey.
We're humans.
You know?
Shit
Yeah.
happens, like they say.
And
so,
you shouldn't let that stop you because it didn't stop you.
right.
Yeah.
So I mean, since you know you've gone through all the failures, you're reinvesting. You know, get into like, how did you start? You know, reinvesting into your setup again.
That happened with one lucky night. Working in the back of the car, right? So one of my wife's cousin
Yeah.
bought some used rims from some chrome rims, right? So I was like, that's nothing. Use some steel wool, polish them up real good.
Yeah.
And it was already night that I finished these things, right? And I think I was charging like $50 just to clean them up, whatever. And I was happy. I was excited that I'm getting $50, right? So I was like, cool. So it was already night, and I finished the wheels, and I told him, hey, I used to live in Hacienda Heights at that time, and down the corner there was a gas station. So I told him, you know what? I'm gonna drive the truck over to the gas station because there was no light. I'll go check the wheels out just to double check them, make sure everything's good on it. Drove over to the gas station, checked the wheels, everything was looking good, and I'm happy because I'm like, he's gonna be happy with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And as I'm jumping back in the truck, I look down, there's like a white paper in the ground. And baby, it was a little dark. And I was like, what the hell? And something was like, dude, pick that up. Like, something was just telling me, pick it up.
Yeah.
Pick it up, whatever.
Yeah.
And I looked at it again, I'm like, it looked thick. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
picked it up. The more I picked it up, I could feel that there was cash in there.
So you picked it up and you thought it was cash, right?
Well, I felt it, and I knew it was cash in there.
Okay, okay.
You know, and I flipped it over,
No way, dude.
and I was like, it had a name on it.
Dude,
And I was like, man, somebody dropped this, you know. And
Yeah.
so I was like curious to see. So I kind of, it was an envelope, so I kind of opened it,
Yeah, yeah.
and sure enough, it was all hundreds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, in there. And I was like, oh my god. I was like, oh, what the hell? So I waited there for a minute to see if anybody goes back and claim it, right? And I was like, if I give this to this guy at the gas station, they gonna stay with it. If somebody doesn't come and claim this, they gonna stay with it. I'm like, I'm gonna wait here. And I waited it for about 30 minutes. I even went back. I went back and gave the truck, and I came back and waited to see if anybody. I even went in there and was like, hey, did somebody come and say that they dropped
Lost some
something?
cash.
I didn't even say cash. I just
Oh, you
said,
just
did
dropped
you drop something? And they were like, no, nobody came. I'm like, okay, cool. And I went back home and to see how much money it was, and I opened it. It was like $1,000. It was $1,000, and that was the first time ever that I even had that kind of money on me,
No way.
like ever. Like
That was your first K?
That was my first,
First
one.
1K?
That was my first band to say, you know, and to me, I was like, man, I felt like Pablo Escobar, right? Right, but
I'm about to put the Narcos on.
yeah, you know,
Just
and
kidding.
the first thought that came to me, I was just like, I need to invest this in my business. And that's the first $1,000 that I used to. I used $700 to get the equipment
Okay.
on Craigslist, and it was somewhere up in like Westminster or somewhere. They were selling a little old trailer, and it had equipment, tank, generator, pressure washer, and they wanted like $1,000 with the trailer. And I was like, how much you sell just the equipment? And they were like $7. I was like, done deal. Went over there, bought the equipment, and I didn't even had a truck yet. So I was like, but at least I have
you
the
had the
equipment.
equipment,
Right,
yeah,
I was like, at least I have the equipment. So I got the equipment and kept working for a little bit, a couple weeks. And my fall, I was like, hey, you know what? My client is selling a 97 Ford F-150, and all he wants is $1,200 for it. And I went over to check it out, and I was like, whoa, this is nice.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a pretty nice truck.
It was a Ford F-150.
Yeah, it was, cosmetic wise, it was great. It needed a little bit of work, for whatever reason, it was like overheating or something. So I took it on mechanic, and the mechanic charged me like another $900 to fix it. So I think I borrowed it 1 year or something
Okay.
to fix it. And it was running, got the equipment in there, and that's the way I kind of started doing mobile, mobile washes. And from that, it actually boosted it even more. Because I started hitting like warehouses, giving cards out, and it started just getting more and more business.
And so, timeline-wise, just to kind of continue a little bit of a timeline, you started 18, right? And then,
By the
went
time
through the boots. You said 2 years later, right?
Yeah, so
And so
by the time I even got my first truck, bear in mind this was probably already 5 years deep.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? From where I started to
Yeah.
getting the first truck.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was already, like I said, I already started building more and more clientele. And it started, to say my reputation was well known, even to this day, is still well known.
Yeah.
And that's what made me bigger, than what I was.
So now that you have the setup, you say you got the truck, Ford F-150, borrowed the money, you basically got that truck suited and booted. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So, what were like some pros that you noticed after you got that setup? And it was your first professional setup. Not to say that already you got already a cargo van. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what you have now. But at that moment in time, you're still starting. You're still moving up with your story. You're still going. What were some pros that you saw in mobile detailing? And it just made you just say, man, I'm still doing mobile detailing.
Well, definitely,
all that stuff. Especially with your new setup.
it was more the luxury of going to people.
Yeah.
Because, mobile detailing period, or especially mobile detailing is a luxury. Detailing is a luxury.
Yeah.
If you want to save money, you can wash your own car.
Right.
So anything that you have to pay for is a luxury.
That's
that
true.
you're paying for.
That's true.
So for the fact that my name was First Class Mobile Detail, and I was trying to cater
And you've kept that name for many years?
forever. Since the
Forever.
day I started, that was the
Dude,
name I
that's
picked.
awesome.
Yeah, because my mentor was known as upper class.
Okay.
Oh,
And
sick. Okay. So
Because
yeah.
most of his clientele, he always told me, you cater to small business owners and big business owners because they will always keep you. They have the money to always keep you busy,
Yeah.
right? And I kept that myself, and I was like, I don't want to steal his name, so I was like, what's something close to that? And I kept First Class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For the same reason, because I'm like, I want to cater to, the higher class,
Exactly.
people
You
who
want-
have money and that's gonna keep you in business.
Quality
Yeah,
clients.
so that's pretty much because of the name I wanted to. The mobile detailing is a convenience
Exactly.
to any customer.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because you coming to them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If they go to a shop, they have to find a time to go to a shop or to a car wash.
Exactly.
Right, makes
Wait
sense.
for their stuff. They have a schedule to keep, pick up kids, do grocery shopping, clean the house, whatever. We come to you. You could be doing all that, and we're outside washing your car.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that's a convenience to the customer.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
okay.
Definitely.
That would for sure be a pro for the customer.
Definitely.
But how about as a detailer? How is it a pro for you? You're the one working. You're
For
the
us?
one, going hard and ham. You know what I mean?
For us, it's
Having
always
a setup.
I think for a detailer, it's always a pro, and especially if you have a setup because now you have anything you need.
Yeah.
Because there's times that I get called, let's say like at a warehouse, there's no power outlet out there, there's no water outlet.
Yeah.
Now you have your own water power. You could work pretty much anywhere you want.
Except the time you even bought a generator too, of course.
Yeah, it came with a generator and a setup. So
On the way.
yeah, so you pretty much
Water
have
tank,
your-
right?
your-
Right.
yeah water.
Yeah,
tank.
so how many gallons did you have?
That was 100 grand. 100
100
gallons,
gallons?
yeah.
100 grand? That's good.
No, 100 gallons. Yeah,
Dude,
water
that's
tank.
freaking dope. And
Um,
there were spot-free water places, right?
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Already
They
at
always
the time,
had
yeah.
spot-free water way before that.
At that time, what were the spots that you were going to?
Definitely Uber in Corona.
Okay.
I heard of
because
it.
you knew
Uber
cheaper.
Detail and the other one I think was Auto Detail Supply in Baldwin Park.
Okay.
Okay.
There was the two that I knew about, at that time. Oh, and 3D and Pomona, obviously.
Sick.
They was always around. So
So, when you were already getting you already had your pro setup, did you keep on doing like maintenance details, like or what
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
always.
maintenance details
I always offer that.
and your full details, deep cleaning, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. Because maintenance detail is what really is going to keep you busy.
Of course.
It's not all the time people are going to want details.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like I said, and that's where tax season comes into play.
Right.
Because when people get more money to play with, that's when the details, correction, etc. is going to come into play. People got money to spend. You know what I mean? So detailing is going to come here and there, but maintenance is always going to be a weekly thing, bi-weekly thing, whatever.
Yeah.
So I always tend to keep that, offering that for sure.
So how long did you go with your Ford F-150?
I had that for 3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
3 years hustling.
Yeah.
Doing all that.
And the only reason I got rid of it is because I got into an accident.
Okay.
With it. And,
damn.
and from there, bear in mind, for those 3 years, my business boosted.
Yeah.
So now I had a little bit more money to play with and stuff. So when that accident happened, I actually bought a newer Tundra at that time.
Oh wow.
That was a Tundra. Okay.
Yeah, Tundra. Yeah, and I bought all brand new setup for it. No more Craigslist.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of money and I invested it and I got all brand new everything. Everything was brand new.
Yeah.
And that I kept for about 4 years.
Wow.
Damn.
4 years I think I had that truck, and same thing, an accident.
Wow.
And that's what made me get this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But the truck is good, but the thing is that everything is open.
Of course.
And if you stop anywhere or you go to eat or whatever, it's always a risk that somebody could steal something.
Yeah.
And I've actually got stuff stolen from me a couple of times.
Wow.
So I was like, the next vehicle is definitely going to be a van. Something enclosed. I don't have to worry about it, anything being stolen.
Right. Makes sense.
For sure.
You mentioned paint correction. So, in mobile detailing, I know there's always this thing that's like, you can't really paint correct in the sun. A lot of people are so against that. Some people don't even do it. They just strictly do not go out and paint correct in the sun. Black cars, don't mess with it.
Right.
There's just a saying, but there's, that's all you've been doing is mobile detailing, dude. So, how are you doing the paint corrections? You know what I mean? Like I guess what is it that you do, to be successful with these paint corrections? How did you learn to get around the sun?
Well,
being a mobile detailer.
That depends on how many steps you're doing.
Yeah.
If you're doing a 1 or a 2 step, you go work outside. But if you're talking about like a 3 or full paint correction, I would never attack that outside. Definitely stick it in a garage or something.
Yeah.
You're gonna be there for a long time, and heat correction is gonna cause heat as itself.
Of course. Yeah.
So, and if you be in the sun, it's just you could damage your paint more than anything.
Right.
So 1 step or 2 step, you're not cutting a whole lot. So
Yeah.
what I do, I normally start with the side that the shade is on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct that side,
And
and then I move on the other side, or I flip the car around or whatever.
So that
so you flip the car.
Yeah, you could flip the. I
Yeah.
normally turn the car around or whatever, and have what was in the sun on the shade now. I kind of go around that.
And do you know what? It's like the most simplest things that you can do to make your job a little easier.
There's a lot.
I would have never thought, hey, I could just simply turn the car around.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing
There's
I've done it
people
before.
that carry the little easy ups.
That's
You
true.
could do that,
That's true.
as well.
Yeah.
We could do that. So
Yeah.
for the most part, a lot of my clients always have garages.
Yeah.
Luckily, but sometimes I have to do it outside. I just did one last week, and he was in the middle of a street, and it is what it is.
And you've done ceramic coating too outside too, I'm assuming, right?
No,
No. Okay.
I've
So
never,
just
never done that. Yeah.
outside.
So just
Okay.
corrections outside.
So just
Correction, like I said, 1 or 2 steps. Yeah.
And then sealant, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I assume you're always
No
going to
problem.
include that protection.
Yeah. But as far as something like a coating, I would never choose to do that outside. Yeah.
You personally, right?
Yeah.
And so
I've seen detailers do it, and
Right.
everybody to their own.
Okay.
But it's not recommended, obviously.
Right.
Any little wind could pick up dust or any element and hit the coating.
Yeah.
You
No,
don't
it
want
makes
that.
sense.
Yeah.
So I guess I guess you could say it's not impossible to do it. If you're gonna do it, as a mobile detailer to do paint corrections, you can still make some money off of that.
All right, so you were mentioning about your journey and how coatings weren't even existing in the beginning, but now since we were talking on the topic of like paint correcting in the sun and also doing the coatings in the garage, When did you first like were able to get into coatings, and then when were you able to first start getting into like paint corrections in a deeper way than what your mentor was teaching you prior?
That was definitely right around when coding started. Because when coding started, it hit the market just bam. And if you've been in this game as long as I have, and especially being on social media, there was always like a certain year that you would remember. I don't know if anybody remember. There was a spell that detailers were competing about taping. Everybody wanted to post how good they were with taping, and it was like a competition to detailers. And coding was the same thing.
Okay.
When coding hit the market, I think the first coding I ever heard about was beads. Still around. I think I don't know if it's European, but it's from Thailand or somewhere. It was pretty well known. Beads. It was one of the first.
One of the first coatings.
Yeah, it was one of the first 9H coatings that ever hit the market.
Damn,
and it was very well known. It was very popular and it was very expensive. And every detailer wanted to use beads. Everybody wanted to show that you're using beads.
That was like,
that was like you're a detailer now because you're using beads kind of thing, and
How was the coating? Was it tacky?
honestly, I've never used it. I tried to get certified. Well, I tried late.
You needed to be certified.
Yeah, I tried late to be certified. I think if I would have did it in the beginning, if I would have offered them, they probably would have. They would have did it. I was probably a few years after that I tried to get certified by them, and there was just so many detailers already offering it.
Yeah.
And especially in my area, and they were just like, you know what, we don't give everybody because we don't want detailers stepping on each other's toes. And they were like, unfortunately, there's already like 2 detailers in your area that's offering it. So I was like, it's all good. It's cool. I mean, I understand that.
You didn't need him, dude.
But like I said, that was decoding to use back in those days. You know what I mean?
Beads.
And right around the coding time was pretty much when foam cannon was introduced.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was huge.
Yeah. When did you get your first foam cannon, or how did you get your first
Through my client, this guy owned a body shop, and I used to do details for him on and off, and he used to clean his cars too, so he was always into detailing stuff, and I don't know where he got this thing because I never heard about it. I'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
And I remember he pulled it out, and I was just like, "What the hell is this thing?" I'm like, "Okay." And he was trying to explain, what it does. And he's like, "Oh, you foam it up." I'm like, "Okay." I didn't get it, right? And until we got to the location, and he connected everything, and he foamed the car, and I was just like blown him. I was like, "Whoa, I need this, dude." I'm like, "This thing is awesome," And still there was still that spell as well, online on Instagram or whatever, that every detailer wanted to post, their car all foamed up. Because that was the thing that everybody was using a foam cannon, because. And the foam cannon is not that old, Foam cannon is not that old at all. That's definitely a new technology, and they adopted it to go with ceramic coating, because you don't have to put hands on
It's
it.
touchless.
Wow.
Right. So you use the ceramic coating with the foam cannon.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
As to why they came out around the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So what was like your wash method prior to the foam cannon? Because now it's making me curious to know that.
Well, before the foam cannon, there was only the bucket method.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you use the 2 bucket method, 1 bucket soap, 1 bucket clean water, and that's what you did. And it worked out for many years, until the foam cannon, and even till now, if you use the foam cannon and for so many years, and you go back trying to use the bucket method, you're like, damn, how did I do that for so many years? It's weird.
Yeah.
I was like, this is weird, it's just like strange. But yeah, I mean, the 2 bucket method for sure is the way a lot of people did it before.
Wow.
Definitely.
That's crazy.
I honestly, I used to use wash mitts before, but honestly, if you do a lot of cars, especially the amount of cars that I do, it's not safe because of the amount of cars you do. And no matter if you use the 2 bucket method, you could always have some kind of debris that could stick to the mitt and cause hairlines. So what I do, I use microfiber towels.
Okay.
Clean or new microfiber towels every time, we clean a car. Yeah. And that's going to definitely reduce the risk of creating hairlines.
Okay.
For sure. But your pre-wash is going to have a lot to do with that. You know what I mean?
So you mentioned you started getting deeper into like paint correction once like the first time.
Paint correction, definitely. I kind of self-taught myself. Like I said, my mentor
he was the paint guy and I was the interior guy.
Uh-huh.
So within the years, I kind of played with my own car and kind of self-taught myself. And I knew how to do, and I actually did multiple paint corrections successfully.
Okay.
But I always had that thing in me that I knew I wasn't properly trained.
Okay.
And especially when it comes to a rotary, it was, and even to this day, a lot of detailers, that's one of the machines that they fear the most.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what I did was I used same my money that I get from detailing, I invested in getting trained.
You got
3 day.
trained.
Yeah, I finally, after so many years of detailing, I actually finally took the 3 day course of my man Keith Touch in the Valley.
Oh,
Dude,
dang!
yeah.
No way!
And he was, it was amazing. Yeah, it's a little pricey for anybody that you would think it's pricey, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
And if you don't invest in your company, who will? So
That's true.
you're gonna spend that
Facts.
money, but the first correction you do, you're gonna make that money right back.
Yep.
And you're gonna do a better job because you're well trained now. And even though I knew a little bit of correction before hitting his course, he taught me a lot. And especially with the application of the ceramic coating, what he taught me was night and day.
Uh-huh.
And now every time I do a coating, to me, my favorite time is the coating part because of what he taught me.
Wow.
It's a piece of cake, knock it out. So it's definitely worth taking a course. If you're not familiar with correction, take a course.
Okay.
It's pricey, but take a course and it's gonna pay for itself.
That's
For sure.
The plug Keith Touch.
Yeah. When was your first coating?
That was definitely probably back in maybe 2016 or something. And I actually did my own car.
And what coating was it?
I actually used, I think it was called Surface or something. Yeah, Surface.
Optimum?
No, it wasn't Optimum.
No?
I actually used Optimum before. That was right when Optimum was kind of like the shit.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it. It didn't last as long as what they say it was.
Okay.
And so a company actually sent it to me, and they were I think they were German, like a German brand.
Okay,
It's called
Surface.
Surface. I think it still exists to this day.
Yeah.
And that was a good coating, and that was like one of the first coatings that I did.
Wow.
Definitely. But yeah, definitely when it comes to ceramic coating, there's a whole sector of that too.
Yeah, in the
It's
mobile
all
game.
it's all about you educating your client about what it is. A lot of people they just hear ceramic coating but don't know what it is actually.
Yeah.
So you just gotta educate them and not give them or feed them the gimmick of what the manufacturer is trying to shoot. Because you see people all the time like they put a brick to the car and set it on fire and this and that. Like that's all gimmick. There's no
exactly.
coating that's gonna withstand that.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So
true.
I be honest with my clients and I tell them, if you see a video with that shit, don't think this is gonna do that.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
be honest with
exactly.
them,
Yeah.
from the get go and explain exactly what they should look at, what they should expect with the coating.
So, just wanted to come on here and say thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is our 3rd episode, and we're going hard. We got a lot more to offer, and so does Shawn. We got a lot more information for you coming in terms of how Shawn has detailed for these influencers, what kind of details they've offered, and what I really want to ask him, and I know what you want to know, is in terms of the pay, with influencers. You know what I mean? So we'll talk more about that. Stay tuned. You got anything to say, Izar?
No, I think that's it. This is going to be a great day to wrap up the video, and thank you so much.
Thank you
For
guys.
sure.
Follow us, tag us, subscribe. Let's get it. Keep detailing. Donuts and detailing. We're out.